Hello everyone, it is your favorite fan of the Killer Shrews here, Killer Shrew fan to be exact, and as a way to say we're sorry for not bringing you fresh content sooner, we're gonna give you yet another killer toy review, right after the last one we just put out there. So without further ado, let's bring in our figure for today. It's this guy, the new for 2015, not new for 2015, but the 2015 figure from Safari Ltd, the Sauropelta figure. And this figure was requested by ASSJN or ASSJN. I'm sorry, I don't know how you pronounce that or how you prefer to have it pronounced, but thank you for that request nonetheless. We're gonna give you the review you asked for here on Killer Shrew Fans Killer Toy Reviews. So let's get started. Starting off at the head of this figure, as you can see, he does have some tiny scales sculpted around those yellow eyes with the black pupil, and on the top of the head you've got some more armored plate scales going on. You've got a lovely beak coming over the lower jaw there, not really weathered or textured in any way, it's just sort of there. These scales are a little hard to make out here, they're not very well defined, but I can't blame them because this is a tiny head. As you can see my thumbnail in the background there, just compared to this figure's head. My thumbnail's bigger than this figure's head, it feels like. Also on the head you've got the start of these lovely osteoderms and horns that go down most of the body. They start getting bigger after the head, but this is where they start to show up, right around the ear holes. Going down the neck, you can see larger horns coming out of the neck on the top and sides there with some lovely gray colors and a black tip going on, and they get quite large over the shoulder blades there on both sides. That's the story for that. You've got some lovely wrinklage going on where the arm connects to the torso, and where the elbow connects you've got some more creases of skin as the elbow is bending. As you can see as well, they have sculpted all of the individual scales on this figure, and that is just staggering, the amount of detail that they have captured in this figure. This is Safari Ltd at their best. There, I said it, and I'll say it again if I have to. On the top of the figure, you've got more bumps and armored plating on the neck. Right here, they look a lot less like plate scales and more like scoots. You've got some more scoots on the side. These ones are painted white and they make them stand out. They're a little larger and they stand out a little better. And then you've got some very large round plate scales going on over the back hip area there. Going down the leg, you've got more of those pebbled scales going into the feet, with some cream-colored toe claws that have not been weathered really, which is kind of unfortunate. I wish they would start. They hadn't started doing it then, and they still haven't this year, and that's kind of a letdown. You've got some lovely areas of wrinklage as the skin bunches up over the swell of the gut, and that's one of my favorite things to see in figures, is them accounting for how the skin would sag and fold on these animals, and it's just incredible how they execute it. I absolutely love it. Going down the tail, you see more of those bony scoots from the side. You got another layer that starts just behind the back legs and goes all the way down to the very end of the tail where they taper out, and that's the story on both sides there. And on the top you've got more of those rounded scale plates going all the way down, about two in a row until it gets narrow, and then you go down to just one. On the underbelly, they have all of the individual sculpted pebble-like scales and a cloaca, which is always nice to see. On the belly there, you can see all the pertinence, 2015, Sauropelta, Safari Ltd, Miami, Florida, all that good stuff. You've got some lovely wrinklage going on under the neck where all the skin is collecting from gravity. And really, that's all there is to the general look of this figure. As you can see, he is done with sort of a mustardy yellow color, and then he has the gray underbelly, and then the cream and gray horns going on. And it looks, he's sculpted as if he is taking a tentative step forward. And really that's all there is to the look of this figure, and wow, he is just incredible. This really is Safari Ltd at their best, if you ask me. I really have no other way to put it. It reminds me of the Enosaurus figure that we reviewed on the channel. recently, that amount of detail and all the different size pebble scales, like, it's just incredible. Like, and they did this 2 years before they released that awesome Eniasaurus figure this year, and that is just awesome. So good job, Safari Ltd. This figure may be old, but it's got a lot going for it. Let's do some size comparisons for you guys. Before we do those size comparisons, we'd better give you an exact size so you have some sort of frame of reference to go off of. So from the tip of that beak all the way to the back of the tail, you're looking at right around, I want to say about 7.5 inches. That sounds about right to me. And from the base all the way to the highest point, which is going to be the shoulder spikes, I believe, maybe, let's see here. Yeah, the shoulder spikes go up a little higher than the rest of it. I know it doesn't look it here, but they do. You're looking at right around 2 inches off the ground, so not a bad-sized figure. Let's do some size comparisons. We're gonna start off by bringing in the new for 2017 Safari Ltd. Eniasaurus figure, and as you can see, he does stand a little taller than this Sauropelta figure, but he is not longer than him. The Sauropelta figure's got a tail that's just a little longer than this Eniasaurus figure. But looking at them side by side, you can kind of see what I mean by all the detail that Safari Ltd. Has crammed into both of these figures, and this figure is 2 years older than that one, which I think makes this figure even more of a standout. Back then they were doing it this well, and they're still doing it this well, so good on them. They have not let their quality drop in the past 2 years. Next, we're going to bring in the also new for 2017 Papo Polacanthus, and I think this is a good comparison because the two are similar in their overall look, I would say. Now, before we go any further, this and the Eniasaurus figure have been reviewed on the channel. Link will be down in the description. But I think this is one of those cases where Safari Ltd. Has outdone Papo. And this is again new for 2017, 2 years younger than this figure, which makes it all the more impressive. But as you can see, Papo sculpted all of those tiny scales. They did not skimp on their usual level of detail, but then they saddled it with that ludicrous colored paint scheme, which I still do not wholeheartedly love like I usually do. But then this comes in here 2 years earlier, has the same level of detail and a much more naturalistic and appealing paint job. And I think that is where Safari Ltd. Has outshined Papo, is in this Sauropelta figure. But yeah, you can kind of get an idea of their size if you stand them next to each other. They size up pretty well to each other. And of course, if you don't have either of those figures, head on down to your kitchen and grab yourself a nice fresh banana. And then you can see how those two items would size up next to each other. The Sauropelta is just a little shorter. Doesn't look like he's quite as long as the average everyday banana, but he's almost there. Well, there you have it, folks. Our look at the 2015 Safari Ltd. Sauropelta figure. Overall, I think this figure deserves a 9.5 out of 10. It is awesome! I mean, I am so glad to have it in my collection, and if you don't, what are you doing with your life? This figure is incredible! Get online and get this guy before they stop making it. I highly recommend. I mean, the detail, the paint job, though a little one-colored, is still eye-catching and naturalistic. It's just all so great. I mean, if you're a collector, if you like doing dinosaur toy photography, or any other reason, if you just like Safari, get this figure. You won't regret it. Once again, I'd like to thank ASSJN or ASSJN for requesting this video. Means a lot to know that you guys want to see more of our content, so thank you very much. We're happy to oblige. And also remind any of you out there watching this that if you want us to talk about any dinosaur toy ever, just drop a line in the comments below. We will try our darndest to do that review for you. Also, let us know in the comments below what your thoughts are on this Sauropelta figure. Do you own it? Do you love it? Are you gonna get it now? Let us know all of that in the comments down below. As always, I hope you enjoyed our video today. If you did, don't be afraid to hit that like button and subscribe to Killer Shrew Fans Killer Toy Reviews for future killer toy content. We will see you in our next video.